Hey guys, welcome back to the part 2 of this tutorial. So in this we'll be adding styles to the notification and I'll be adding the basic functionalities. So yeah, let's get to it. Next, let's work on adding some styles to our notification. If you remember, we had an image, then the notification content and a close button. So let's add those elements first. Start out by creating a container div inside which I'll add this div. Let's add the image tag first. So img alt as type. src will be we'll get to src in a second. So I'll declare a variable here, let's say image src. I'm gonna add a switch case based on the type, so I'll switch on the type. Now if the type is success, see image src should be success.jpg, and don't also forget to add a break. Let's fill in the rest of the cases. So I've added in all the rest of the cases like error, info. Now let's add this image src into our images src. Like that. Let's also modify the default data placeholder data that we given. So let's add in the type property for this. Let's add some success, error warning, info, etc. Also remove some of them. So I've removed it, made it into 4. Start by creating a notification class. Let me add it on to application. So here let me do class name styles. Wait, I have to import it first. There we go. Save that and come back here, and this will be styles of notification. Let's also maybe add a class name for our image. Let's call it image. So add one for this div which holds the content, the title and the message. So let's do that quickly. So I've added the class. Let's also make sure that this title is only shown if title is present, meaning the title isn't mandatory. So only if the user supplied title, then only we need to show it. Otherwise it'll just be the message. Now let's come back to our style sheet and add these classes. So these need to be in a straight row, so we'll use flexbox. So let's add display flex. We need the items to be aligned in center, so we'll do align items of center, a margin and a padding, just like this. There's a slight mistake that is there. I have given this JavaScript will look for this variable, and since it can't find it, it might throw an error. So what we have to do is we have to do styles dot, or even you can give it like this way, wherein we pass it as a string like this. I made that small mistake, so let's correct that quickly. And I've also added some styles. Feel free to style it any way you want. Now the next thing is to style notifications differently based on types. So we'll just add some styles for types. So this will be dot success, and we'll add in the rest. There we go. We'll just be changing the background color of each of the styles. So there we go. We've added in all the colors. Now this type should be whatever comes in from our notification. So what we'll do is in here I'll just convert this into a template literal. So I'll do this, and along with the notification style we'll also apply the type style. So that will be styles of type like this. So this means whatever type I have passed here, like warning, info, etc., that we have used the same classes here, and that one same style will be applied here as well. Let me reduce the border radius from 20%, which is to 4 pixels. Feel free to change it as you want. I'm just using some styles for now. So going back, that looks much better. You also need to add a close button on the top right of each notification here, which when the user click, they can close the notification. So let's do that. Let me add a button outside here. I'll add an X in here just to signify the close icon. We'll also add a style, so we'll add a class name to it, and for the styles let's call it close btn or something. Let's create that style now. Add that, so that will be close btn. So it has to be in the top right corner, so I'll position it absolutely. Then I'll add a top 0 and a right of 0. We'll also don't need any background for it, so I'll just add as background as none. Also have to add a position relative to this notification class, so that the close button comes absolutely positioned, so it will look like this. Remove the notification from the screen if the user clicks this close button. So let's do that. Let me add an on click in here. Pass in a callback function in here to remove the notification. So I will need the remove notification function that we defined inside of context here. You can also use the use context who can get it directly, but let me just make it easy just by passing it as a prop in here. So I'll first pass it down to notification container like this. Here I'll do the same thing. I'll just accept the prop first. Let's do the same in here. So the only reason I'm doing is because we're gonna implement like a custom hook for our show notification function. So Just for this one, I think this is fine. So now what I'll do is I'll just call the remove notification function and pass in the ID of the notification, so that I can get from notification.id, which is the current notification which we have, and we'll just be passing it, or I'll just accept the ID right here and I'll just pass it directly instead of like structuring it there. There we go. So add some dummy IDs to our dummy data. So in here, let me just go ahead and add some like ID. So there you go, I've added the dummy IDs in here. So now let's come back, and if I click close, you can see that one by one I'm able to close out all the notifications if I click it. Cool. Alright, next let's get rid of all this dummy data and actually create a notification. We need to create the show notification function, and before that we need to create a custom hook. So let's create a new folder in here called as hooks, and in here new file called use notification. So export const use notification. So need some of the React hooks. So in this we will create a function called show notification. We'll be returning from this hook, so just to show notification we'll just return this also. The next thing is to use the notification context that we have to get in all this add notification, remove notification, all these functions in here inside use notification. So to do that, we'll do use context of notification. It seems I have not exported it probably. Yeah, there we go. So I'll have to export this notification context that we created. Forgot that step. So in here I'll just do notification context, so that is imported. And from this I'll need to use the, so in here I'll need add notification, remove notification, list of notifications that we have. Now show notification will take in options of the notification that we pass in, options. So this will be all the properties of the notification. So I'll just copy it directly from our notification component itself like this, then destructure it. So from options all of this will come. Now user won't be passing in an ID when they are like calling the show notification function, so that we'll have to create it ourselves. So we'll create that. This will need another library called UUID. So UUID will generate unique universally identifiable identifiers. So we need to run this command to install it in our project. So let's open up the terminal, create a new one and run npm. So that is done. So just like it mentioned in the documentation, let me just copy this over here, and we'll just call UUID v4 to generate our unique UUID ID for the notification. So we'll do const ID equal to UUID v4. This will generate a new notification each time the show notification is called, and we got all the properties also. So next thing you can guess is we need to call the add notification function. So we'll do that, add notification, and we'll just pass in the properties. We can just do we'll just spread out the options, and we'll just add the ID property to it. Cool. So now let's test out our hook that we created. So this is how the end user will be using. So if anybody wants to show notification in our app, they will come to wherever they want to call it. So first of all, they will use the use notification hook, and they'll import it like this, call it, and this use notification hook should give them it will return a function called show notification. So the end of handle show, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this show notification right here, show notification. There we go. And now if we go back, you can see that wherever I click, the notification shows up in the correct place as needed. So there we go. Cool. So the next step is to actually remove the notification. So we have also a duration after which the notification should disappear. So right now we are not doing that, we're just adding the notification. So let's add the logic to remove the notification after this duration is up. So we can do this directly inside a custom hook itself. So before we add the notification onto the screen, we can start like a timer using set timeout, and then maybe we can remove the notification from that using the remove notification function. So let's do that. I'll create a timer variable and do set timeout. So we'll take in a callback function inside which we will be removing the notification of the particular ID, and this should run after duration seconds. So this will be the duration which we pass in milliseconds, I believe. So after this this particular timer will run, and the notification should be removed. Also add in a default value of a notification. Let's say like 2 should be enough for the time being. So now inside our app.jsx in the show notification function, if you also pass in a duration, let's keep it very small, like maybe like 400 or something, and save it. And now if we go back, you can see that it won't even wait for 2 seconds. So whatever duration we pass in, based on that it will disappear. So there we go. What you can do to optimize this a little bit is to wrap the show notification inside a use callback hook like this. So I'll just wrap the whole thing and add an empty array. Show notification function will be recreated on every render, and we don't want that, so we are kind of memoizing it using use callback. So the same cached version of this function will be reused throughout the renders. So it's a little optimizations that we did. So with that, our basic functionality is done. So now what we need to do is the smoke animation, which is the Naruto part. So let's get to that.